We just got a ton of new information about Borderlands 4 at PAX East 2025, so without further ado, let's jump into it and let you know everything you need to know. First up, we're going to start with the story stuff, and I do want to mention this whole entire event was a question and answers Q&A, and the very first question asked was, where are the rest of the Crimson Raiders after Borderlands 3? It was said they split up into groups and are currently looking for Lilith during the events of Borderlands 4, and that's all they pretty much said. Also, I do want to say that most of the questions were answered with very short answers, but nonetheless, we did get some really good information, which we'll get to in a bit. For the next bit, we got a little more information on the Timekeeper, the antagonist in Borderlands 4, and it was said that he outlawed vault hunting on Kairos. Then they kind of went off and talked about the citizens on Kairos, and as you might know from the previous trailer, they do have these cybernetic things on their spine. After Elpis crashed into the planet and broke up in the force field, the citizens of Kairos now see the stars in the universe and know there's more out there, and that's what prompted them to pull out their cybernetic implants and risk their health while also achieving freedom. There's an uprise happening. Right after, they talked about Vex for a little bit, and it was said that she is pretty new to her powers. It was said recently she awakened her power and started using it, but we don't know yet if she's had it for life or it was recently passed on from a siren passing. Then we got a little bit more about Vex's action skills. As you know, she can grow wings and use a thing called Eldritch Blast. She has her face familiar known as Trouble. And then the third action skill, which we've seen hinted a little bit in the trailers, known as Deadringer. You know, that projection of her holding the scythe. But she has another alternate form in the Deadringer tree, or action skill, whatever you want to call it. And it's going to be another projection of her holding a gun. Now, this seems very similar to Zane's clone or even Digijack clones in the pre-sequel. And they mentioned there is a skill you can spec into to give your clone a copy of your gun. So if you're a fan of the Zane clone setup, then you might actually like Vex as your Vault Hunter. Talking about Vex a little bit more, the name Trouble actually comes from one of the developers' cats. The cat's name is Trouble, and so they named this action skill, or face familiar, Trouble. Silly fun fact. Alright, moving on to Rafa, they didn't say a whole lot of new stuff about him, but they did confirm he's going to be the speed character. So if you're all about movement speed, or even into speedrunning stuff, then this might be the guy. We're gonna go fast. As for Harlow, she's known as the Gravitar Vault Hunter, and I think it speaks for itself, but it's not 100% obvious, but she is all about gravity. She can bend gravity to her will, is what they said. Also, in the cinematic trailer, actually, before I talk about that, Borderlands cinematic trailers in the past have shown things that don't actually happen in the game. For example, Flack showed all 3 pets out on a battlefield at the same time, but obviously they can't do that. But Harlow with the face lock ability, or, picking up the enemy and slamming them into the ground, like we saw in the cinematic trailer in the past, that is an actual thing you can do in the game. And it was also mentioned she has way more gadgets that we have not seen yet. And if I were to guess, I would say this could be some of the augments in her skill tree. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Moving on to Amon, he actually has a lot more going on for weaponry than we've seen in the trailers. Besides the hammer, whips, and axes we've seen already, it was also mentioned that he has a sword and a spear too. Oh, and that shot with him in the cinematic trailer where he had a shield, yeah, that will also be in the gameplay, so that's not just a cinematic shot for the flare. Alright, now on to the questionable part, something I'm a little bit worried about, and they briefly touched on dynamic weather in Borderlands 4. In the previous trailer, they did confirm there's going to be dynamic weather, and so randomly you can have rain, thunder, a snowstorm, dust storm. Those are the only 4 they confirmed so far. There could be more. And while this is cool to bring the world alive, I am a little bit worried about this because they did mention there's going to be a little bit of a visual clutter, you can't see extremely far. And I'm really praying it's not going to impact performance and make the game run worse or be super obnoxious and just have visual pollution on your screen. Hopefully it's tame and doesn't impact your vision too much. Also, they mentioned it's not going to affect your movement speed or your damage or anything like that, so it's purely a visual thing. Right after, they asked for Randy to touch more on multiple vaults, and Randy Pitchford pretty much just said, yep, there's more than one vault to explore. They didn't really touch more on that, but yeah, there's going to be multiple vaults for exploration. Cool. As for the vehicles, it was said there's going to be a lot of customization for it. I mean, that's to be expected. No surprise there. And then on to another bad thing. Don't worry, guys, I promise you there's a lot of good after this, but there's one more bad thing here for some people. And that is, because the maps are so freaking large, there is no mini-map for Borderlands 4. Randy just says, with the map being so large and up and downs and all that kind of stuff, it would just be kind of weird to have a local, cutout cube of your location in the corner. But he said not to worry, and if you really want to see your map, you can open up the giant map in your inventory. But yeah, kind of sad, no minimap, and I know a lot of people wanted that. I was initially on the side of having a minimap for this game, but after thinking about it more and more, I'm okay with the compass system, but I would prefer a minimap. I know a lot of people are going to be kind of sad about that. And so at the very end of the stream, Randy did say, or tease, that there could be a minimap added later on, but he was super joking about it, what if I do? What if I don't? But what if I do? I don't know, Randy was just being silly, and we don't know or have confirmation that there will be a minimap DLC or free download or anything like that. We could see the return of a minimap later on. Not confirmed. Randy loves joking. Next up, we have Echo 4. If you fall in a fight for your life, Echo 4 will appear extremely sad. Yep, that's it. Oh, also you can customize Echo 4 to make them look different. Alright, so Atlas and COV parts are returning for licensed parts on guns. Not the actual gun type. You're not going to see Atlas guns or COV guns. But they're going to be licensed parts, similar to how we have Hyperion already. And they mentioned that Atlas is going to have the homing mechanic tied to the licensed part. So if you find a Jacobs pistol with an Atlas part on it, you could have homing Jacobs bullets. Or if you find a Torg launcher with an Atlas part, then you have homing rockets? Yeah, the part system is going to be crazy in Borderlands 4. Next up, Doll is gone. Yeah, they mentioned Doll's not coming back. They're no more. They simply said Doll tech did not exist on Kairos, and with the impact of Elpis happening, Doll just never made it over. But they did confirm that your Echo 4 drone buddy is made by Doll. So there you go. There is a little bit of Doll, but not actual gun parts and whatnot, or guns themselves. Alright, here's a big one. They confirmed there is no crafting in Borderlands 4. If you get a gun that's not the gun you're looking for with the desired parts, you cannot craft it to be better. You have to do the farming, whether boss farming, enemy farming, chest farming, whatever. And what you find is what you find. And then of course you can swap out the enhancement, and that's the only thing that's pretty much being swapped out. But yeah, no crafting. They did confirm this here. We pretty much knew about it with the way everything was working in the last trailer. But every single gun can roll a TDOR licensed part. That means that every single gun that you find can be chucked, thrown like a TDOR. That includes Jacob pistols, Atlas assault rifles, rocket launchers. If you get the right TDOR licensed part, you can chuck it. That's crazy. They also confirmed that Bladoff licensed parts can give you micro rockets, and this can apply to a Jacob. So if you find a Jacob shotgun, you could shoot micro rockets. Yeah. Remember how we saw for the enhancements, there was a thing at the bottom like, 1 out of 3, 0 out of 3? That is confirmed to be called firmware. And what this is a set bonus. So if you put on 3 of these same parts, then you get the set bonus out of it. As for what it does, they did not say, but current speculation says that if you have this right firmware on your shield, class mod, and your enhancement, then you get the set bonus. Okay, on to Ordnance. Ordnance is your grenade throws or heavy weapon stuff. As mentioned in the previous video, this is a timer-based thing that goes on cooldown. So if you pull out your heavy weapon and start spraying down the battlefield, you will eventually have to put it away and it goes on a short cooldown. But we haven't really seen much on grenades just yet. Remember, grenades are also an Ordnance, so they are a cooldown-based thing. They mentioned the reason why they are doing this is because they want grenades to have more of an impact. Instead of spamming them non-stop like in the previous games, grenades are going to punch a lot harder this time around. Now, they did mention that there is going to be shields in this game. Surprise, surprise. And one of the shield types is going to be armor. So during combat, if you're being shot at, you will randomly jump up your shield. And I'm assuming this is going to be a percentage-based thing, similar to like absorb shields or booster shields, whatever. But it is going to be one of the shield types you can roll. Next up, it goes without saying that Borderlands 4 is going to have the most build diversity ever seen before. Randy said it's going to be crazy. Love to hear it. Going back to Vex, they did confirm that the Reaper, the scythe projection, is going to taunt enemies and take aggro off the battlefield. So not only is it for damage, but it's also for, you hanging back and like having enemies not attack you. Pretty nice. They did confirm one legendary for its name, and that is the Ruby's Grasp. All they said is it's going to be a legendary. And then right after, here's the huge big announcement that I'm super duper duper happy to hear. They confirmed there are going to be dedicated drops in Borderlands 4. Randy said that every boss, every mini boss, is going to have its own dedicated drop and respawn. Thank you, dude. Jeez. How many games now? It seems like they finally got on board with it, and the community is extremely happy about it. For the next question, they did ask if Invincibles are back, raid bosses. And Randy simply said, Invincibles are back. Nothing more to it, but glad to hear that. So we are going to have raid bosses. Will it happen at launch? Hopefully. They didn't confirm that, but hopefully we see that. And I'm sure we're going to see even more in DLC. Alright, one concern that quite a few people had was, will the mini-bosses in the world, they call them world bosses, right? Will these mini-bosses be able to be respawned? Randy said they can, and you can just use the Encore machine. By the way, this is an actual physical machine in the world you go to, and you can respawn this mini-boss. So if you see one of these machines in the world, by the way, we don't have video or pictures of what it looks like, they just talked about it. But if you see one of these machines, you can respawn the boss on demand. For the next question, they asked if Bar or Guardian Rank will return in Borderlands 4, and they stated that a system similar to Bar, not Guardian Rank, Bar, Borderlands 2, will be returning, but the points that you spec into it are going to be a lot more impactful. I don't think we're going to see a simple, hey, increase gun damage, hey, increase fire rate, whatever. They're doing something a little bit different with this. As for what it is, we don't know yet. Next up, the community asked, what is the price of this game? And Randy Pitchford said, I don't know. Like, he really doesn't know at this point in time. However, he did state that Borderlands 4 was double the budget compared to Borderlands 3. By the way, Borderlands 3 was over, what was it again? Like $100 million? So if we're talking about double that, that is $200 million plus to develop Borderlands 4. And the fact that Randy mentioned that right after saying he's not sure about the price tag has me thinking it's gonna be more than $60 for the base game. So we don't know the price yet, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. As for Ordnance, so Ordnance, that like orange thing that drops during combat, it was confirmed to be something similar to Iridium, or Iridium 2.0, but it is not a currency. As for what it does, we don't know yet. Right after, we got another big announcement. So they confirmed that pearls are coming back. That's right, Pearl Essence are coming back in Borderlands 4. The community asked, what are the rarities in Borderlands 4? And Randy said,
there's your gray, there's your green, there's your blue.
I don't like how you're saying
there's
that, by the way.
There's your purple.
And then there's orange.
There's your orange. There's your
Hold on.
He halfway said the word pearl and then cut it off. Knowing Randy's humor, when he half tells something like this, it'll probably be something at a later date, so not at release. So yeah, expect pearls in the future. As for when, we don't know. Thank you for that, because we need the rare hunt, dude. As for the final thing for the PAX East reveal, they did mention that the vault dungeons are going to be rerunnable. So if you find a vault fragment and run a vault dungeon, you can run it again and again. I'm going to be completely honest, I bet there's a boss at the end of it, and in order to refarm it, you would have to be able to go back there. And with dedicated drops confirmed, we can rerun them. Very cool. Also, thinking about it now, I feel like vault dungeons might be our, like, takedowns. If it's a big rerunnable thing, then it kind of screams takedown, does it not? Anyways, at the very, very end, closing it out, they did confirm that on June 21st, there is going to be a public gameplay hands-on. And I'm assuming this is going to be in Los Angeles again, like what they did for Borderlands 3. But yeah, that will be the first time that anybody can come in and play Borderlands 4 hands-on. Anyways, that's going to be all the information for today from PAX East. Let me know below what you guys think about all this. Dude, I am so happy they confirmed dedicated drops and pearls. It's a staple of the franchise and what got me hooked on Borderlands 2, and I am so happy it's returning. At launch. Well, maybe not pearls, but dedicated drops for sure. But yeah, you guys have an awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.